I'm now joined by Casey Sprake, who's an economist at Anchor Capital. Casey, welcome to On Point, and thank you so much for your time. Before we even go to tomorrow and the budget speech and what that has in store for us, what do you think of the insert that just played? Do you think that categorising SOEs into strategic and non-strategic assets could lift pressure of the budget, pressure of the government finances?
I mean, yes, on the one hand, it will make a helpful change to the numbers at the bottom line of the fiscus. But to be honest, I think that's very much just a short-term relief. We need to consider the long-term trajectory. And with SOEs, we need to see tangible reforms come through. We need to see private sector participation for there to be any real long-term change in fortunes, so to say.
Since October, when the medium-term budget policy statement was tabled, we've seen some green shoots in the economy. Do you think that some of the measures that will be announced tomorrow will continue to support this improvement? What do you think we're likely to hear?
Yeah, I think on the one hand, we foresee a sort of, strong rhetoric coming through about how, things have improved on the local side. As you mentioned, we've seen some strong reform measures come through. Our local financial markets have been fairly positive this year, despite everything happening on the geopolitical side. And sentiment has really changed for the better. We're starting to see that filter through onto the data as well. But then again, on the other hand, I do believe there will be some sort of awareness of, again, what's happening on the geopolitical front at the moment. We cannot sort of, lie in ignorance around that. And that will unfortunately have an effect on not on just the South African economy, but the greater African continent at this point.
Yeah, there are varying degrees of understanding about whether tax will be tinkered with. What do you at Anchor Capital think about tax adjustments come tomorrow?
At our point, we see every year the same rumor mill start to drive up that we're going to see increases in VAT or in personal income tax brackets, etc. At this point, it's not our base case and certainly not what we are sort of positioning ourselves around. If anything, we believe that there may be a bit of a revenue boost from the sort of fiscal drag where tax brackets aren't adjusted for inflation. So if anything, we will see that, but we don't foresee any major increases in taxes. At this point, revenues are tracking well year to date for the government.
Yeah, you did allude to geopolitical tensions. What's happening between South Africa and the US is something that has been in the news for quite a while. And at the moment, there's only speculation about the impact that would have on trade relations, with AGOA being at risk and just a trade war set to be looming. To what extent do you think this will put a strain on investment prospects by other American companies or others in the international sphere?
Yeah, I believe at this point, it's hard to forecast exact numbers. I mean, it's conjecture. We just don't know the types of tariff levels that we'll have or what the long-term outlook for AGOA is, not just for South Africa, but again, the African continent at large. But it does serve to simply, turn around investor sentiment when there's uncertainty about a certain geographic location, such as South Africa. Foreign investors just rather look for other sort of more suitable safe havens. So it just puts a bit of a question mark on South Africa. And unfortunate, given that so much has changed on the local front at this point, and we are doing all the right sort of change and reforms on local reform measures. But it's more just a change in sentiment that just deters investors really putting the hard-earned monies towards us.
Yeah. And Casey, before I let you go, given our debt to GDP, given economic growth prospects, what do you think credit rating agencies will likely want to hear? I know that the IMF has also issued some caution against fiscal spending. What do you think credit rating agency would want to hear come tomorrow that would make them consider, lifting our rating?
I think with respect to budget tomorrow in particular, the credit rating agencies will be looking for a continuity from the government, much of what we've seen in the medium-term budget speech last year and full budget back for 2024 as well. Just to sort of, again, maintain continuity in government sort of fiscal consolidation efforts to, keep expenditure constrained and just to show a sort of logical path on the way ahead. In terms of actually facilitating a positive credit rating upgrade, there's a lot we still need to get in place here. I think the rating agencies are looking for tangible numbers to come across the board. And while our debt story is becoming better under control, bear in mind that our debt to GDP numbers still sit at around 75% of GDP. So we still got quite a distance to make on that point before the credit agencies take that push further. So again, I believe they're going to be on a wait and see point, just to see those tangible numbers start to come across.
We're definitely waiting to see what is contained in that speech tomorrow. Casey, thank you for your time. I've been speaking to Casey Sprake, who is an economist at Anchor Capital.